triggering change, one heartbeat at a time. Battle for Freedom. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon. It depends on what time of the day that you people are starting this thing off on here. I'm your host, Watson Prunier from Battle for Freedom on Mojo 50 Radio, and I am back. It's been 2 weeks off, and folks, I am back here, and it is time to have some fun. Thank you, everyone, for your patience and waiting on. Also, I want to say thank you to all the amazing people who stood in for me while I was away all last week and took some time off. I'm your host, Watson Prunier from Battle for Freedom on Mojo 50 Radio, and I am glad. I am excited to be back. Took a couple weeks off just to do things with the family, and are we completely settled yet? Nah, but it's okay. I'm just glad. Again, many thanks to all the wonderful people who covered for me throughout the week. So I'll mention their names a little bit more and the content that you had a chance to listen to last week. But if you're going to start your day off right, I don't know, again, what time you start your day. If it's early in the morning, you just finished listening to The Situation Room with Rocky Stucci. Or the afternoon, it's Right Now with Jim Dawes. But right now, what I want you to do is I want you to enjoy some American Pride Roasters coffee. And I want to talk to you about that for a second. Please check us out. This is my favorite coffee. That's it. You've hit the snooze button a dozen times and now have to finally get going. Why not have a hot cup of Watson's White Chocolate Caramel Coffee? American Pride Roasters Coffee is the official coffee of Mojo 50 Radio, which has a wide variety of excellent blends. I'm not going to lie. I'm partial to the blend named after me. Get it today at AmericanPrideRoasters.com and tell them that Watson from Battle for Freedom sent you. Get it today at AmericanPrideRoasters.com. So, there's American Pride Roasters Coffee, Watson's White Chocolate Caramel. But you know what? Something that just came from, I apologize, I just got this in from leaders at Mojo 50 Radio, basically saying that something's changed starting today. They're doing a new promotion through September 13th at midnight. Basically, American Pride Roasters is calling this a factory shutdown special because APR Coffee is shutting down for reorganizing, restocking, and cleaning for a few weeks each year. So I think this might work in your advantage. All coffee ordered through this promotion will be shipped out of the factory. Opens back up on September 14th. So, it should be about September 16th when they're going to ship this to you. So let's understand this is going to be, this is it in the different options that are out there for you. This is the time for it's the Brad's Brown Bag. It's a combination of the best known beans from Africa, Eurasia, and the Americas. Brad's Brown Bag is an unforgettably tasty blend, and now there's an exclusive pre-sale for this during the show. The Mojo 50 for Mojo 50 people at mojo50.com, mojo50.com during the APR Coffee's factory shutdown. And listen, understand this: for $25 donation per bag, just go to mojo50.com and click the donate button at the top. And understand this, and they're going to also start, is that right? Yeah, they're also starting a plain brown bag, and it needs some finishing touches from the Jackhole Nation. So they're asking you to help DM create the label for this coffee, either a line for the description or your best image of Brad in action using the hashtag Brad's Brown Bag. And then basically, if I hear that the DM chooses to use your tweet, APR Coffee will send you free coffee. Listen, folks, if you're a coffee lover and you want to do this, jump in on APR's Coffee. You're going to listen, if you come back and you listen to every program that's on Mojo 50 Radio, go to mojo50.com/schedule. You'll find out all the different people that you can listen to, all the different programs that are available. You heard many of them in my place for the last couple of weeks. Spend some more time. We've got new shows, we've got new hosts, and it's great content on this network that I enjoy being on, this free speech loving network. Check them out, mojo50.com. So I wanted to share that with you, and I'll make certain that tomorrow you have the better commercial and the better breakdown of what's going on with APR Coffee. Cleaning up, kind of like me, just taking some time off to clean up, restructure, reorganize, and get from there. So I'm glad I'm back. It's if you go here, my website, Battle4Freedom.com. Let's get into talking about the Democrat Denominator. the American canker. Now you hear the word canker, and you're like, is he talking like a canker sore? Yes, I'm like talking like about a canker sore, a disease, an annoyance, a painful situation. And when I say the Democrat denominator, is that a lot of the problems that are happening in this country right now, not solely, but many of them, you could find that at the root of the problem, right underneath the issues that are standing in front of you. That's why I put in the graphic for this show. You see COVID-19, you see black men in prison, you see drugs, you see stock markets crashing, you see rioting and everything taking place. That's the reason why in the image, for those who are driving and listening via iHeartRadio, I apologize that you can't see this. But what I'm trying to show in the imagery here is that you could find underneath and a source to all these problems that are taking place, the Democrats. The Democrats. So I'm going to go through some stories that I can share with you so you can understand why I feel this way. Now, this is very important as we go through here and we look at what's taking place on here with this canker, this American canker that's killing us here with the Democrats and what they've been doing with us here. This is very unfortunate. Let's start off with this first one. And this one is a doozy. You know if I'm gonna bring this stuff up. I want to introduce to you right now Kurt Eichenwald. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but this gentleman here is probably one of the biggest villains that's going to be in America right now when you want to talk about in a season of hatred, in a season of xenophobia, in a season where we believed in 2016 when Donald Trump was elected president of the United States of America, people were fearful. People were fearful. Black people thought that they were going to be put back in chains. That's what the media said. This is when every form of hatred was going to rise up from the ashes. White supremacy. Things that we have to worry about. Charlottesville. KKK. It's all a nightmare. And all the horrible things that Donald Trump said about those evil Mexicans, right? You remember? He said all Mexicans are evil. No, that's an incorrect statement. Actually, he was talking about the criminals who come into this country are evil and bad. Not all, but what we're going to do is we're going to focus on Kurt Eichenwald for the time being because of the fact that this gentleman said one of the most amazing things, one of the most hateful, xenophobic things ever. Because I don't know if you've heard about this, but this week is the RNC. Melania Trump decided that she wanted to do something with the Rose Garden. And she decided that she was going to spruce it up and give it a glorious or a very regal look about it as she prepares to even share and speak during the RNC that's taking place at the White House. And this is really amazing and this is beautiful because instead of just rejoicing in what she's done, this is how far Eichenwald decides to go. Now, this is a verified Twitter account. This gentleman, who is a former New York Times reporter, said that it is the destruction of our history, something no other first lady would have the gall to do. This is the first time I've been so furious at the FLOTUS that the FLOTUS is a foreigner. She has no right to wreck our history. She has no right. Foreigner? She has no right to fix. Folks, this is what you talk about. It's juicy. When you sit here and you talk about the whole idea that they say that it's the president, it's Republicans, it's whites who are xenophobic and conservatives. They hate immigrants. And here it is. You have a New York Times reporter. You have a columnist who is what, if I'm correct, probably a liberal, progressive Democrat. And he goes on to basically say, and this is the best-selling author. He basically says he was furious over the First Lady leading the historic makeover because she is a foreigner. And understand this, he basically is a former New York Times reporter, and he was troubled with her renovating the Rose Garden. Now, mind you, it's very interesting how any activities that the Obama did was a glorious effort. If they want to if they want to shine the White House in rainbow colors, it's glorious. If they want to do whatever they want to, if they wanted to paint all the walls black, it has some for fear that would be said. I don't think I ever heard anybody in conservative circles say that they were concerned about the first black couple painting the White House black. Just straight ignorance. That wasn't said, but it just shows you how far people will go just to say or do whatever that they believe will fit the narrative of the racism that they're looking for. These are the racists that you're looking for. And so I'm sitting here watching this. I'm like, this is pretty sad and this is pretty pathetic. But this gentleman goes on to, the tweet was removed, but he says a number of people, basically fellow journalists who basically accused him of being xenophobic and wrong. See, this is the amazing part about this, is we've been telling you for the longest time, guys, y'all, you guys are, y'all, I can say y'all, you're projecting your evil on the rest of us. You're projecting your evil, your wicked machinations on us, and unfortunately, it's going to seep out, and it's going to get to the point where you can't hide it anymore. See, when I sit here and I tell you about this, that, the Donald Trump is president, he's racist, he's sexist, he's xenophobic, everything. They've gotten so comfortable in getting away with it because of the fact that the media has not held them accountable. The media has not held accountable. I forgot who I was talking and listening to over this weekend, and they were just talking about the whole idea of how the president, former president, and the Democrats become so comfortable with lying. Oh, that's what it was. Someone sent me a link to something that Judge Janine Pirro basically shared out, saying something along the lines of "Stop lying to me." And the whole idea is that you run into this problem where it's not even a problem. Actually, it's the best thing that could ever happen. That the Democrats have gotten away with murder for so long, and the media has basically supported and silenced any mention of their illegal activities because of the fact that we have to focus on Orange Man Bad. And they've gotten so comfortable, become so comfortable in all that they're doing that they don't want to hide. They don't want to hide their hypocrisy anymore. And so all we do is we sit back, grab the popcorn, and enjoy. Because at this particular point, any person who continues to want to vote Democrat deserves everything that comes to them. Seriously. I mean, we warned them about the illegality and the corruption that was in their hearts and the double standards that were listed under their behavior. We basically told them about that canker, that sore, that pain, that disease, that fungus, the fungus among us. About the liberal progressivism. When they said that liberalism was a mental disorder, now you're seeing the culmination of that. You can't hide it anymore. I mean, for crying out loud, Mayor Lori Lightfoot chooses that she wants to ban protesting on her street. I talked about this with Dominic Izzle last week. He comes on Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Part of the amazing Mojo 50 crew. Immediately after, you have Brad Staggs and the Daily Mojo and all the shenanigans that they bring forward. Yes, I said shenanigans. Or should I say malarkey? I feel like a Biden wave coming along here. But as you sit here and you watch, that they feel so comfortable that they will live in double standards that they don't care about hiding it any longer. The double standards, what is it? The Word of God says a double-minded man is unstable in all their ways. And you're now seeing the instability of the Democrat Party as it shows up more and more and more. Democrats are letting Democrat cities, majority cities, where you have a lot of minorities who live, that these cities are burning. They're being looted. But for some strange reason, Lori Lightfoot, instead of basically ending and basically arresting and being serious against those who are protesting and causing all kinds of problems, you only do it when it gets so close to home. Lightfoot, you just basically said that your life is more value than the other millions of people living in Chicago. I'm praying that many of you will hear and see and understand and comprehend the message of what took place there. She just said that your life doesn't matter. This is insane. I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, did she just do this? Yes, she did, folks. But maybe you can't process it. Maybe you've experienced some PTSD from your life living in Chicago, living in the inner cities, living in these major metropolitan areas, and you just don't know how to process. May I suggest to you another one of our sponsors for not American Pride Roasters, but for Mojo 5 Radio, and that's New Life Holistic. Does it seem like your mind often shuts down before it even starts? Sounds like you need to detox to improve your health in body, mind, and spirit. I'd like to tell you about New Life Holistic. It is an amazing therapy process that uses neurofeedback and biofeedback for many issues that ails everyone. New Life's approach to health, balance, energy, and vitality is what sets it apart from anything you have ever experienced before. Call 1-833-4-BIO-LIFE and tell them Watson from Battle for Freedom sent you. One more thing. Give them the code MOJO50 and save $50 off of your first session. The consult is free. New Life Holistic. Call them today. Yes, call them today because of the fact that maybe you can't process this thing. Maybe it doesn't make sense to you. You're trying to wrap your mind around this. Folks, this is going to be the most interesting election. I know everybody says it every time. This is going to be the next most important election that we're going to be facing. But you need to understand, this is key. I need you to pay attention. Jerry Stallnecker, who, thank you, when he covered for me, I believe it was last Wednesday or Thursday, was talking about listening to every show that you hear on Mojo 5 Radio. I'm going to echo that. Listen to every program. So listen to Brad Staggs as he breaks down the information. I see he's in the timeline of different people. And everybody, thank you very much. I'm happy to be back. Leave your comments at facebook.com/Mojo50 Radio. I'm also going to make certain that you see the links. Go to my website. The link for Parlay is not there right now, but just be patient. I'll make certain that I'll update my website and have that for you. But what's happening here is we watch this thing that this person actually said the most xenophobic. I'm not done with this guy. And as you sit here and you look at this, when you look at this video, that you look at the picture. So it's all like spicy and all kind of like blah with all the colors that are there right now. But when you look at the before and after pictures, what's very interesting about this is the fact that she's bringing it back to a way that it used to look. Now, understand this. This story is going to wash over. We're not going to hold this. This guy will not be held accountable for the words that he said, for the words that come out of his mouth. He had some very vibrant, bright colors and everything like that. She's decided to go back to, now this is very brilliant on Melania's part. She went back to a standard that was created during JFK's time. But I'm running into a problem thinking that that's not going to be enough. But just when you thought that this guy couldn't put his foot in his mouth any further, he basically says, people may have misunderstood my point about Melania being a foreigner and ripping up plants put in place by almost 100 years of first ladies. It was a complex point, and I was wrong to say it. My point was people who come to America should celebrate its history, not ignore it. But, okay, hold on a second here. What? Did you just say, wait, did he just say, yes, he did. Yes, he did. Let's go back and look at that sentence for a second here. He said that people who come to America should celebrate its history, not ignore it. Now, mind you, listen, take foot, insert in mouth. You have just basically said exactly what the President of the United States of America has been saying since day one. And you know what? Everybody call that America First. That sounds like an America First statement. That sounds like the byproduct of a MAGA mentality. He's basically saying, do not attack the things that are put forth from America. Appreciate the things of America. Adopt American principles and American history. That sounds exactly like what the President of the United States of America has been saying. I've heard that before, right? You've heard that before. Share this with your friends. because the liberals are now regurgitating what the president of the United States of America has been saying. MAGA has actually interwoven its way into the language of even the liberal progressives now. That, you know what? Now, all of a sudden, when they start saying it, they're like, some liberals are going to be like, yeah. You just agreed with the president. You just agreed with the MAGA mentality. No. And we probably need to send those people to New Life Holistic, because now they're going to have a mental breakdown because they're agreeing with the president. I'm not done with this fool. Let's go back to what, so this is some of the other different things he says, because this is before he starts retracting it. He says someone who has only been a citizen for less than 1/3 of her life should be reverent to American history, should honor our history, not decide her personal taste should rip it up. Oh, this is glorious, people. I don't think you understand the juicy steak level. I mean, this is Ruth's Chris level steak juiciness. I'm talking about, baby. You were just served the juiciest platter of racist xenophobia, according to the liberal media, according to Democrats, according to Trump haters. This is coming from their camp. But the reason I want to leave this up here for you, because Kurt Eichenwald was writing something, and I have a couple of links will be available to you on my website when you get a chance to go to Battle4Freedom.com. One of them is illegal immigration myths, half-truths, and a hole in Trump's wall. So of course he's going to attack the president's role and his xenophobia against the people coming across the border. But this one, I have a quote here. Basically, this is from a line where he wrote an article that basically this was in September the 9th on 2016, just a couple months before the election. He says, now I'll address what for you, Mr. Speaker, because he's writing a letter to Paul Ryan. He says, maybe the most important point here. Trump will poison the Republican brand for decades because he embodies the racist, xenophobic, angry faction of your party, and it has exploited for the past 8 years. This is basically how he says that Donald Trump will ruin the Republican Party for tons of years to come. Now we're watching racist, xenophobic, hateful. American cities are burning. American cities that are controlled by Democrats are burning. American cities, the language that we've heard for the last 3 years is racism, and Trump doesn't, and conservatives don't care for black people. But black people are recognizing that it's not Republicans running their cities. Even and trust me, I've got a video for you for even here in Indianapolis. It's the Democrats. It's a Democrat mayor who's been in control since 2016. We every year we're record number shootings, stabbings. I've got a very interesting video to share with you about what's going on here in Indianapolis, the capital, Democrat city council, Democrat mayor, home of Andre Carson. Democrats who don't show up until it's time to be elected. And unfortunately, many of the black people in the city choose to continue to reelect this bum who's not doing what he needs to. He is completely disassociated with the people. He just gets their votes. He just gets their notch on his belt just to say a black man is in Congress in Indianapolis, and this is a wonderful thing that we can have while the city burns, while the city just deteriorates from the inside out. This is disgusting, and I don't think many of you realize this. It is a major canker that's happening from the Democrat Party, and it's not good. It is not good, the level of decay that's happening in this country right now. I'm not saying that there aren't Republicans who are contributing to this as well, but make no mistake, we're going to pay attention right now. We're going to look at these cities that are burning. We're going to look at these cities where the rape, murder, shooting. New York City has been run by a Democrat mayor. New York run by a Democrat mayor. You can't put anything. Don't put COVID on. Don't show some intelligence on your part. Don't talk about COVID. Don't talk about anything that would try and assign blame to Donald Trump for the nightmare that's taking place in New York. and many of the other places. Listen, I'm your host, Watson Prunier from Battle for Freedom. Let's go to a break, and I'll talk to you guys on the flip side. Yes, and during this time, I forgot that you need to have a break here and put some music or commercials or something you can listen to in the meantime as I'm going to this break. So let's do this. Let's take this screen off so you can see me, and let's go through some comments while we're here. So let's see. It says, let's see. Just basically a lot of welcome backs, everybody. I see Left. I see Brad Staggs. I see Curtis. I see Brian. I see Mitchell. I see Franklin. New Mexico. Oh, see NM. I'm thinking he's either one that's saying early in the morning thinking, or he's actually saying NM as in New Mexico, as another state run by Democrats that we have to worry about. Now, folks, understand this. I'm trying to do my best to show both sides of the aisle that there are problems on both sides. I could be talking about this at this point when we get back to, but there's so much more content that I need to go through, and I'm about 30 seconds away from coming back from this break here. All of you, thank you so much for the support you provided. I just want to say thank you for your support you provided to all the hosts that stood in. Really appreciate every last one of them, and from the bottom of my heart, this is an awesome network, folks. You need to continue to listening to. Share out Mojo 50 with all your friends and family. It is imperative that you do this. As we draw closer to craziness in this country, what we need more than anything else, Jesus more than anything else, and add in a little Mojo 50, sprinkle with a little Mojo 50 radio. So let's go back to coming back from the break in 5. Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, Watson Prunier from Battle for Freedom on Mojo 50 Radio, and I'm glad that you are here. You're listening, you're following, and you're saying, hey, this is the amazing thing. This is amazing time. Watson's back. He decided to disappear for 2 weeks, and he gives us all these amazing voices that we can listen to. Listen, we had, Andrew Coppins, we had Pat Onik, we had Gwen Rich, we had Jeremy Leahy, we had Stallnecker. Again, I'm saying a lot of these names that you're listening to right now. You have to understand, if you don't know who they are, it's because of the fact that you're not paying attention. You need to recognize these names. Mojo50.com, and from there you're going to check out all the different hosts that are available to you. You're going to click this. You're going to click the schedule button. Now, also, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to, and I don't want to forget them. I'll mention the other hosts as well who basically stood in. But one of the things I want you to do for me is this is key. Pray for the people in Iowa. I didn't get a chance to say much of it, but derecha, whatever that windstorm came in, and it caused a lot of damage. Some of the hosts, part of the Bells of Liberty, have experienced some pain because of what's going on there. God's getting angry. Okay, let me bring this back in, because you don't want to talk about God. God's getting angry to see the level of destruction that's happening. We have twin hurricanes coming in. We have twin hurricanes coming into the Gulf. I think the first time in history. And you guys, you're thinking, oh, this is nothing to worry about. No, you need to wake up and recognize we're in a lot of trouble here. Stephen Airy stood in for me. Thank you last week, as well as Matt Holloway standing in and covering for me. These are Mojo 50 family is amazing, and you need to listen to their content. Actually, let me get you one more of the, yes, this is one of the, because the damages in Iowa, and actually the damage is going to start affecting many of the other many of the other people around the country because of God getting angry. And I'm thinking if you can get people, I don't know if they can get out there in enough time, but one of our new sponsors would be great for this situation, Patriot Energy. Are your energy bills getting out of hand and you want to unplug from the grid? Consider Patriot Energy, a local veteran-owned solar company. You need honesty, integrity, and clarity. These markers are essential in the ever-growing solar industry. Call 602-721-6717 for a free quote. Tell them that Watson from Battle for Freedom on Mojo 50 Radio sent you. That number is 602-721-6717. Call Patriot Energy today. Yeah, call them today because I think they're going to have some major, with all these hurricanes coming in, with all these natural disasters taking place, you want to be certain that you are prepared for the worst case scenario. There's other areas that we can talk about this. And now, seriously, I don't know if you can get in enough time, but for those of you who bought a cat cooler, probably going to need that as power outages that are affecting you. And let's go to that one with cat coolers and just share this with your friends. When the world is going to hell in a handbasket, you need rugged. You need strong. You need durable. You need cat coolers. These are the best coolers on the market in 27, 55, and 88 quart. Go to catcoolers.com and give them the code Watson to save 10% on your purchase. Don't settle for those substandard containers that melt, leak, and destroy your memorable moments. Tell them that Watson from Battle for Freedom sent you. Cat coolers. Yes, tell them about cat coolers. And make certain that everyone knows about this and they're going to be prepared for the worst case scenario. So, we talked about some of the crazy things going on here. Let's move away from that crazy guy. I spent way too much time on that. But just talking about liberal hypocrisy in light of the virtual signaling that's been going for the last few months because of George Floyd's death, we're seeing more and more, and even you can't hide it from your Democrat candidate, the racism and inconsistencies that's there. But let's talking about the candidate right now. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris decide that they want to, they're going to bury the hatchet. We're going to put an end to this. So let's look at these folks. Let's look at these beautiful people. So basically it says Biden and Harris attempt to publicly bury the hatchet as she calls her previous attacks on him a distraction and says he says criticism of her is sexist in their first TV interview together. Now, what's really interesting is the fact that, when Kamala Harris was interviewed and she was basically, they said, well, you said a lot of strong things about Joe Biden. And what was her response? It was a debate. It was a debate. Laughing it off. And also, basically, you're saying either one of two things. You're saying one thing clearly. If you're laughing and basically saying that your words that were shared during the debate were for show, that means that everything that you said about him was either a lie or you yourself have no values and you can't back up and stick with the words that you say. Now, I understand that sometimes we'll say things that are wrong. There's times that I've said things that are wrong, and I've been challenged by my buddy Scott because of the fact that he's one of my accountability brothers. And I want to make certain that, I correct. If I say something wrong, correct me. But there are going to be times where I'm going to make a statement. I'm going to stand on that statement. I don't want to back down. I don't want to cower down. I don't want to take a word back. I want to say something and stick with it. Because of this PC correct, the fear, we can't be tolerant, intolerant. The tolerant people not tolerating the people who are supposedly not tolerant. You have to retract. That we have more retractions taking place. Instead of people being just sticking to their guns, basically sticking on their values and basically saying, this is what I said, this is what I mean, and I'm not going to change. Period. We need to be people of substance and the character. Stand on it. Don't walk away from the word of God. If you believe that God's word is true, stand on it. People are going to get there, oh, that's so archaic and it's written by men in cave and so chauvinistic men in caves. Let them parrot that lie and deception from the enemy because of the fact that the goal is to make you feel uncomfortable and you walk away from it. Because security and safety and acceptance from everybody in this world is what matters more to you. So the enemy will continue to basically regurgitate that lie and regurgitate it through a lot of weak-minded or just delusional people that the word of God doesn't have power. It doesn't have relevance to you in this day and age. Don't let that lie and deception prevent you from hearing what matters here. But she decided to make some statements about the racism, and she opened up the doorway for a lot of you to do the research. The research is there. Dominic Izzo and many other people played video and audio of Joe Biden saying the N-word. Not like, oh, well, I'm about to say this word. No, he dropped it like it's hot. You think he was a rapper. Skid Joe. For crying out loud, this guy did not hide the statements that he has made. And think about this. Y'all had to go back 40 years to try and blame Donald Trump for not basically allowing black people to stay in his apartments, in his condos, on his real estate. Donald Trump is a businessman. He didn't want to say black people couldn't stay there. He said poor people can't stay there. People who can't afford to live in these condos, people who don't have a mentality to appreciate what they have should not be living on my property. Think about this. A lot of you high-minded black folk, white folk, Hispanic folk, men, women, whomever, he, her, or they, or zit, or whatever you call yourself, you turn around and you know that there's a certain element that you don't want around you. You know that there's a certain element you don't want around your family, in your communities. And Donald Trump didn't want that same level in his establishments. But for some strange reason, we drop our standards matter, but Donald Trump can't have any standards of who's going to be living on his property. That's how far you have to go back. Then you have to go back, Then you have to go back to, that's what it was, the Central Park Five, because he wouldn't want to believe that they were innocent. That makes him racist? How about the fact that he just didn't trust them? Who knows what kind of history he had with them? We don't know, but we're going to hold on to that because that makes Donald Trump a racist. You remember, what was it? 1 Corinthians basically says love doesn't keep, 1 Corinthians 13 says love does not keep an account of wrongs. This is the love chapter. This is the passage that, so convenient that when we love our wives, husbands love your wives. When Christians are basically say, pray for those who persecute you. Love your enemies. Love chapter. Here's your chance. Love. But you don't want to do this. We don't want to feel obligated on doing this because in so doing, that means that I actually have to unearth some bad behaviors and some real faulty things in my life that I just want to stay focused on pointing at Donald Trump and conservatives because they're the ones who are racist and not myself. God's going to uncover that. You can't hide that any longer. And it's bubbling out, and you keep thinking that you have a cap. You basically have that cover, and you're clamping it down. You're basically using a crockpot lock top solution to try and hide your racism, to hide the inconsistencies and the sin and the double standards that you have in your life. And God is making that sin. He's making what you've been trying to hide and conceal, bubble out, and it's going to blow. You can hide in ministry all you want. But that racism is going to come out, and you can't hide it. I'm not going to waste my time with these people. Biden and Harris, they're lies. They're walking contradictions, and many of you are walking contradictions right now because your standards on talking about your righteousness and the reverence of Donald Trump has become an offense to God. It's your inconsistencies, your hypocrisies are nothing but a huge flame and a huge smoke signal to heaven that's basically stinking up heaven because of your inconsistencies. Here you go. Here's one other one. Dozens of protesters arrested and one officer was hurt after a swarm of armed anarchists wielded axes and guns, descended on Denver police headquarters, shoots fireworks at cops, and sets trees on fires. The group consisting of between 50 and 75 demonstrators. Now, mind you, they keep calling this protesters. They're not protesters when you're setting things on fire. You're no longer a protester. You're an anarchist. You're a looter. You're a rioter. Fireworks are shot at police officers. An American flag and tree outside the courthouse was set ablaze. Windows were shattered and a store broken into. One officer suffered a concussion and third-degree burns, but is stable. 12 people were arrested during the riot, and one person was cited. I want to be clear. What we experienced last night was not a protest. It was anarchy, said Murphy Robinson, executive director of public safety. Where is the mayor? Where are the governors? Because, again, Colorado, folks, Colorado is controlled by Democrats. Where is the condemnation? Nowhere to be found. And they're happy to let your cities burn. They're happy to let you be in a position. They don't care anymore. You want to talk about it being crazy? This is, you know what? So you keep ignoring it, okay? You keep ignoring it. Let's check this out. I found this one very interesting. Because this is what you get when you allow not just the mayors, not just the governors, not just the senators who are Democrats, even when you get the judges who are liberal progressives. This is the craziness you have to deal with. Judge orders a woman to continue living with serial grifter who has been squatting in her Manhattan home for months without paying rent and spraying her with cleaning chemicals because evictions are banned during COVID-19. Heidi Russell claims that her supposed short-term renter is a serial grifter. Russell said that Gladstone has been squatting in her home for months. Gladstone was meant to be evicted in March, but the pandemic put that on hold. Gladstone finally left the apartment in July, allowing Russell to change the locks. Upon Gladstone's return, she went to the court saying she'd been illegally locked out. A city judge said Saturday that Russell must allow Gladstone back into the home. Me thinks that Russell may be a liberal progressive, and now she is tasting a little bit of her liberal, progressive, destructive ideology that's nothing but an American canker. Welcome to the hell created by your own ideology. Now you're tasting your own medicine. Doesn't taste good, does it? Wait, you're going to kick somebody out? You're going to make someone homeless? Where's your compassion? Where's the love? Oh, wait, you want everybody else to pay for compassion. You don't want to pay for it. You don't want to lose money. You don't want your property destroyed. Let me briefly stop on this one here before I get into this video that I've been trying to play for the longest time. So last week, I ran into this situation by a younger black man who I used to go attend church with. So a white friend posted, for those of you who are watching on Facebook, sorry, those of you who are listening, you're going to have to come to the Facebook video and watch this. This is also streaming on YouTube. This is streaming on YouTube, and this is also streaming on Mojo50 TV. Forgot to tell you that. Mojo50.com. Sign up. They're not going to spam you. Sign up, and basically you can watch this live. If you don't have a Facebook account, you want to stay away from the Facebook and social media and everything like that, go to Mojo50.com, and look at Mojo50 TV, and you can watch this. This is also on YouTube as well. My friend shared Cannon's life mattered, and so this is about Cannon, who lost his life, who's killed by a black man. Hashtag say his name, because the media doesn't want to say anything. The media wants to remain completely silent, because black men shooting white people doesn't happen. Only thing we have to worry about is white people. So my friend posted that, I changed my timeline. I basically put a picture of Cannon riding on his bike, and it says hashtag can't ride, him holding his fingers up. Beautiful little boy, right? But then all of a sudden, one of this fool decides that he wants to attack my friend and basically said, seems like he was killed by his dad fellow, drug dealer or meth head. Okay. And that, that you shouldn't be bringing race is not a race issue, okay? So mind you, the person who posted it never said anything about race. And she's like, I never said anything about race. Why are you putting race into this conversation? And then he basically says that I am race baiting by creating the picture that I put out there. This is I need you to understand something. This is someone that I went to church with. This is someone I served alongside with. This is someone, when they had to move from Indianapolis to another city, I had just north of Indianapolis, I had no problem serving. And I saw them at a friend's graduation about a year and a half ago. No problems. Not attacking me for race baiting. But you know what? The instability, and then Republicans too. Many conservatives have a little bit on the instability side, a little bit on the Canker side about you becoming a keyboard warrior and you have no problem attacking people. Understand this, that, maybe I might be talking about Democrats right now, the Democrat denominator, but you know what? A lot of us have adopted liberal, progressive tendencies, and we decided that we want to be on the Canker side ourselves. We want to have a little fungus among us as well. So even though I might be talking about cankers and Democrats, I need to help us understand that we shouldn't be adopting these principles that are basically rotting this country from the core. If we're participating in the behaviors that's not building but breaking down. Now, I understand that there's some things that should be broken down. Liberal progressives should be broken down, but inconsistencies on left and right sides should be broken down. But this person felt comfortable and decided that they want to attack me. This is the person who I rubbed shoulders with, serving in ministry for many years. But they got it from someone else. So I understand this. They got it from a black Democrat leader. To carry on this, that Democrat denominator, that canker, is woven itself into the church, and it's woven itself into too much of the fabric of American society and conscience, and needs to go. Let's get into this video here. Sorry. This is from Indianapolis.
Problem off and on for years, but it's not something we're not used to. The difference now is you've got less people downtown, smaller population of working people, a larger population of transients, and the dealers and the low-level tough street toughs who know that they've got an audience or a customer base that they can get to no consequences at any time.
This is not homelessness. This is a whole different animal. This is just violent crime. Fights, drugs, stabbing 2 days. It has nothing to do with the homeless situation.
I grew up in Indianapolis, and I've never seen downtown like this, ever. So, that's going to be up to city council and mayor on how to, resolve those issues, They're going to sit down, they're going to have to, they're going to have to change some laws like Indiana's known for to accommodate the situation.
City officials say that they are addressing the issues throughout business loans administered through the Indiana Chamber. 1 million campaign ad attracted tourists to Indianapolis, and millions of CARES Act funding supporting the Homeless Foundation.
There's so much paralysis and so much just indecision coming out of East Market right now. 220's Market, they're afraid to try anything because they have a fear that it might go wrong.
The number of city employees who take pictures from their offices and send them to me. City, we're not coming over for lunch today because, and then send me a photo. There's no way your staff doesn't see that. And I also find it busy as well as $1 million on this big market campaign that has places to come downtown. My person showed up is going to come down with 2 kids a few weeks ago, and she's like, come down. I'm like, don't come down. Don't come down here. She's using like a 10-year-old and a 3-year-old. I'm not going down here. She knows the area. She worked with me for 4 years. Stop down here. I shouldn't have to worry about that before. It's not probably going to start telling people that it's a safe thing too.
Yeah, because Indianapolis is getting creative. It may seem that there's a lack of leadership, but there is so much more that's going on behind the scenes to make that happen, said Councilor Christine Jones. We can't snap our fingers and make it happen, but it's happening. That's poppycock. Malarkey.
From what I've heard from business owners, there's a lot of drug dealing and drug usage going on around, and that seems to be where a lot of the crime is happening. And Market Street leading up to Circles, it seems to be like that's where there have been the most issues from my friends who own businesses in this area.
Right now we have people who are definitely pays to come and clean streets and sidewalks, they're power washing. We actually had somebody definitely all over down the sidewalks, so we cleaned it up, we got water for everything, and then they come there, they're coming by, power spraying. just decide again anything that we're doing. This happens every single day.
So you
take some of these unoccupied buildings, the abandoned buildings down here, and build out a building that's got nothing on the first level right now. Build out a 5-unit bathroom in there. You're going to have some security in there, obviously, because you can't have things going south inside of it. But that would be the long-term solution. The short-term, you sort of something down here.
August 19th, city announced $750,000 from property taxes will help fund safety cameras and additional IMPD patrol. What? More people, more toilets and hand washing will bring the city's total to 16 stations. Oh my goodness.
As far as to say that the city completely
Did they say more police? We don't need more police.
Chartered waters that we're all consuming in, and so I don't envy the mayor figuring out how to approach all of this. It's got to be a very, very difficult situation.
August 18th stabbing outside of Indianapolis City Market.
Some improvement, but it could be better. Just a little more presence from IMPD. I have seen downtown actually crowded the past couple of weeks because people, or a lot of them are tired of being quarantined, whatever they need something to do. Nothing else, they're going to come out and eat. I've seen a lot of people down here the past weekend. They ran scooters, they were out eating, they were out patios, eating, whatever. And they look like they were worried about safety to me.
I was looking at some comments on Instagram post about, I think it was about families doing their hour special, and there were people like, I won't go to downtown, I'm going to stay out in Marion County. Like acting like it's the Wild West down here. And the reality is, I mean, it's nice out. It's beautiful, and there isn't, I mean, there aren't shattered glass, there's not trash in the street.
But there was shattered glass months ago.
Yes, it's been crappy. It's been bad.
But listen to the ending.
It's
Listen to
been
the
bad.
ending.
I've got female business owners, small business owners who feel like they have to carry.
She's saying, carry. To carry a firearm to get to work safely.
But again, I feel like that's shifting. I feel like it's incrementally daily getting a little better, aside from a couple of stabbings this week.
Apart from a couple of stabbings this week, folks. Now, mind you, people, females, women, the war on women, that we have to protect them, right? They're feeling insecure. They're talking about the challenges that are taking over Indianapolis and it's becoming a little Chicago. From Gary all the way down to Indianapolis, a Democrat mayor that has been in control. When you had Mayor Ballard, Greg Ballard, the previous mayor, for 8 years, we didn't have this nonsense. We didn't have this craziness. Defecating in the streets sounds like New York. Sounds like San Francisco. Yeah, you keep letting Democrats run these cities. And everybody who wants to stay inside the loop. Ruined. No safety. You got people, Black Lives Matter, protesting everywhere in the ritzy neighborhoods everywhere, trying to make a difference. No, don't bring that ghetto trash here. Yes, I call Black Lives Matter ghetto trash. Because it's not about the truth. It's not about it. When you want to sit here and focus on black people, but you're not changing your neighborhoods, it's ghetto trash. When you want to be silent about the lives being shot, oh, this black guy who got shot in the back 7 times, we're going to be focusing on that, right? We're not going to focus about what happens when black people are shooting and killing and raping and doing all these different things to one another. We're not going to talk about that. That right there, the Democrat denominator that sits there and turns a blind eye to the cavities and the corruption and the cancers in their own communities. Yeah, that's an American canker. It's an American cancer. It's killing people. But you know what? I'm going to move to something brighter. You know, in the middle of trying to upgrade my internet, I had a chance to, so my attitude of gratitude in the midst of everything that was going on. I want to do this right. Send me a story, b4faog@gmail.com, so I can share it. I have several I need to share, and this is going to be great. b4faog@gmail.com. But in Spectrum, I was upgrading my internet because of the fact, with kids at home and needing higher internet connectivity. I had a chance to talk to this woman named Beth, and I think Ron and Ron and Brad are going to enjoy this one here. So I was speaking to this woman. Her name is Beth, and her daughter's name is Natalie. And so remember Natalie because of the fact that this is a 5-year-old girl who has an affection for Bigfoot. She watches with her mother, and they spend a whole lot of time watching Discovery Channels and trying to track down Bigfoot and everything like that. And she says to her mom about the whole idea of she wanted to try and get Bigfoot on the endangered species list. She's like, Mom, why is Bigfoot in Greece and Russia on the endangered species list but not in America? So she's going to do the best that she can to reach out to the people who are looking for Bigfoot and take care. And at one point she said that her daughter had this conversation with her saying she was mad that her mom made her a little baby girl. And she's like, well, why is that? She's like, because I want to be a welder. She's like, you could be a welder and be a girl. And she's like, well, why do you want to be a welder? She's like, I want to build a claymore sword. This is a little girl who loves Bigfoot, loves a claymore sword. And she's like, well, why do you need a claymore sword? She goes, because I'm not a delicate flower. Oh my goodness. And then the worst part about it was that she was saying these different things. I said to her, don't be surprised if your little girl tackles like Bobby Boucher. And Beth says, I'm from Louisiana, right? Oh my goodness, you want to talk about laughing. I laughed so much. And in this crazy day, in this crazy time with all these cankers, we need more people like Beth and Natalie. And listen, if Bigfoot's put on the endangered species, I'm letting you know. If her name is Natalie, please let me know. I'm your host, Watson Prunier from Battle4Freedom. Enjoy and take care.